Good.
Oh man, you got a background, and is that like a real screen thing you're standing in front of, Boise, or is that a fake?
No, this is just a wall, Jim. It's just a wall.
Oh,
I'm sitting at my desk. I'm not standing. Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, Eric,
hey,
Tony.
Tony's not talking tonight. I don't know what's up with Tony. If he wanted to text us in the chat box, that would be okay.
Hey. Well,
Tony, Tony had surgery. Tony was in the hospital.
Again.
again. Well,
You doing okay, Tony?
Yeah.
Good. You sound good. Put it that way.
Missing a part of the bone on my second toe on the right foot.
ouch.
Ouch.
No, it didn't hurt at all. That's the problem. No, they just had to scrape off some of the top, get some infection out, let it drain, throw in some antibiotic beads. 4 days later, took those out, sewed it back up.
Jeez.
But it took them the length of time it takes a Commodore 64 to load a disk program to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, nice dig. I like that.
Actually, New Year's Eve through the 4th
Oh wow.
of January.
Well, um, I guess good to have you. Uh, fewer bone pieces or and all.
Sorry, say that again.
I said good to have you. Fewer bones and all,
Oh, thanks.
or fewer bone mass, I guess, and all.
good to have most of you.
Except for John Mark. I mean, really. If we could do a meeting without John Mark, that would be better. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Wouldn't be the same.
Well, I guess I should. Have you heard from? Oh, there's Brian. Have you heard from Grant Leedy today? I have not had it. I have not heard anything from Grant.
That's a good question. Let me see.
So he's not on. He's not anywhere that I can. Um,
Nope, nothing today.
okay, well, Randy.
Randy.
Hey, no, we have a quorum, anyways.
Yeah. Um,
Brian Weisler.
I'll give another minute or two. I'm gonna see. I was hoping Grant Bladeau would be at the discussion, primarily because I kind of getting antsy about the newsletter. Wanted to make sure that he was okay because I know he's been working on it for a long time. So
Oh, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Bladeau, that's how it appears as though he pronounces it.
Okay.
Well, I know he was just talking about it a few days ago, wasn't he?
Yep.
So,
But okay, well, we will go ahead and get started. It might be a quick meeting. Let me bring up the agenda real quick here. Let me make sure I've got the correct information for the agenda. Let's see. Whoops. Don't need to do that. 1 second. There's Randy. Randy, I may press you into service on providing a few updates for Tandy List and the Fest. So just a forewarning. We haven't seen or heard from Grant today. So
He said he was chasing storms.
Got it. Okay, so it's storm chasing weather for him. Okay, fair enough. Well, in any event, let me start up here and just make sure I've got things right as rain. So we'll go ahead and open the February meeting. Appreciate everybody joining. Don't have a ton on the agenda, so obviously if folks have stuff to add, that's fine. We can put it in as we go along. But Brian, you're kind of up first with a secretary's report for the January meeting. Actually, some of the previous month's meetings. So maybe you could tell us which meetings you have available for us to go through.
For right now, I have the minutes from our last meeting.
Okay, good. Good, that's fine. You can bring them up if you want, or talk through them, however you want to.
Yep, I can see here. Oh, share. Where'd my minute? There it is. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so last month there, let's see here, I'm gonna get myself situated here. So last month we kind of had a little bit of a review there where I had made some amendments to the November minutes. I wasn't able to be in the November meeting, and there was some notes that you guys, some corrections that you wanted made. So I had made those. You had spoke about, asked about, well, and you approved the December meeting there, and that was really about all there was for secretary notes there. And Eric and Grant approved it. In the treasurer's report, and for my minutes here, I do need to circle back with Eric. I know we covered a lot of material in our last month's meeting there, and I wanted to at least get December's numbers in here. So I will amend those minutes there. I didn't forgot that I needed to get with Eric this past month. So, but Eric did review our December numbers for last year. And then we also had some discussion about various expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any opportunities that maybe we might be able to save some money. And that was kind of the bulk of the discussion there for December. And then Grant moved to approve it, and I second it. And then Eric went into talking about the year-end numbers, and that's where most of our discussion was. We were kind of talking about how things compared to previous years. And Jim, you wanted to kind of maybe take a look at the past couple years' numbers before we went ahead and approved the final numbers for the year. So we have not approved the last year's numbers, and I don't know if we're to that point or not, or maybe that's something we'll discuss.
I sent a note to Eric. I got partway through the material, and then I had to work intervened, and so I wasn't able to get it finished. So I'm going to ask for a little bit more extension. I'd like to probably chat about it at the board meeting that's coming up here later this month. So I thought that might even be better to talk about it before I bring it back to the business, to the membership, because we may need to make some, we may need to make some various decisions from the board's perspective on year-over-year budgeting. So I asked, I know I sent a note to Eric, told him that I'd like to have just a couple more weeks to finish up my review, and talk about it at the board meeting, and then I'll bring it in front of whatever comes out of that. I'll bring it to the general membership at the March meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no problem here, but we do have to have it done before tax time. That's the only concern.
Fair enough. The one thing I was going to mention is on your reporting. So you've got the Eric moved to approve and Grant seconded, and which is fine. But then there was a vote, so I think we probably need to put under it that vote motion carried unanimously or whatever, since it doesn't actually say that in there.
Okay.
So the moved to the move to approve, and the second was to put it up for a vote, and then we voted.
Okay. I'll make sure I add that in my minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eric spoke about the purchase of a card reader for Cocoa Fest, and we gave Eric the okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did we? By the way, did we get it purchased, Eric?
Yeah, I got it
Okay.
over here behind me. It looks fine.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Sorry, just wanted to check and see since we said we were going to do it. Did we actually get it done?
So is that a PayPal one?
No, it was Square, I think. It was a Square one.
Okay.
Because PayPal, for whatever reason, we can't get them to approve our ourselves to get a reader.
Okay.
I think it's just we're just stuck in a loop with him.
Right. Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to
Nope.
stop you.
No, that's good. So then we again we moved to Grant moved to approve. I second it, and then we did vote on it for him to purchase that. So
Okay.
and moving on. For the director updates, then Grant had announced that Cocoa Fest registration was now open, and there was just a little bit of discussion around that, and that we were already seeing about half the tables, I think at that time, had already been purchased, and there was kind of a curiosity question about people registering for dinner, and Grant felt that about 40% of the people that had already registered also signed up for dinner. And then there was some, we talked a little bit about the website and some of the admin access that people have, and so we wanted to review that. Is that still an ongoing thing to review the admin access
Well,
for the site?
who was picking that up?
I think there was just some discussion that there was just maybe a lot of people that maybe have access that maybe do we really need that many admins
Oh yeah.
on the
well,
back on the back of it.
I I remember the conversation, but I don't remember who had the ownership of it after it got done. So, well, we'll put that since we don't know, we'll put it back on the agenda, right? So we can take care of that. Admin access. Oops. Admin access for Tandy List. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Okay. And then Grant also talked about the Spreadshirt. I think that was pronounced there. The store there for the for ordering of the shirts for Cocoa Fest. And he talked about the different things that were available, from shirts to mugs to hats and such. With the newsletter there, Grant B was not available to give us an update. With old business there, Jim spoke about the year-end meeting that we had last year, and thought it was very successful, and that we should maybe look at doing that again this next year as an annual event.
Okay.
And this year, then Eric said that he was going to go ahead and get the purchase of the accounting software that we had spoke about in November. I think it was November's meeting, or was that December? It was December's meeting. I think we talked about the purchase of the software option. We had to change, so, and we had given the approval for that.
Okay.
With new business there, we spoke about the passing of Bob Swagger, and John had mentioned that he had been speaking to Bob's wife about Bob's things, and we just had a little nice discussion about Bob and his involvement with the community. And then Jim stated that in the directors meeting that we would discuss covering Bob's activities and who we may assign those to.
Yep.
And then with that there, we didn't have any other further discussion, so then we moved to close the meeting, and I moved, and Grant second the move, and then we voted to close the meeting.
Okay.
And that was it. It was kind of a short, sweet meeting we had last week or last month.
Okay. Well, I guess with the exception of us forgetting, all of us collectively forgetting who was supposed to take on cleaning up admin access on Tandy List, which we'll have to just go through again. I remember everything as it was in the in the in secretary minutes you just put in. So absolutely thanks for doing that, and would be happy to entertain a motion to approve the minutes for January.
Yeah, I'd move as long as he adds the results of the vote for
Okay.
any votes that are missing.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, John Mark seconds. Any additional comments? Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Treasurer's report for, I think, given that it's the beginning of the month, you don't have the January one, so it'd be what, the December one? Or no, we did the December one. So
We did the December. We haven't accepted the year end, but January, it's too soon. The bank and PayPal don't really give us reports until the 3rd at least.
that's fair.
So it'll probably be April or May before we get the current month's report. If I have time.
You mean March? Sorry. We'll get the
Well, yeah, we'll get
Oh,
this,
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
get
yeah.
January's report next month,
right.
but we'll be back to getting regular reports. It looks like in maybe May.
Okay.
So
Well,
generally, because we have our meeting on the first Thursday,
yep.
all of our reports are going to be a month behind.
I I know maybe during the fest, or as we get closer to fest, we may want to, I know we moved to the first Thursday of the month for the regular reports because that helped out some folks on timing, and hopefully it did. But I'd probably like to go back. I'll go back to the minutes and see who those folks specifically were, and see if maybe a second Thursday might work a little better, because it makes it a little bit difficult to have to talk about a treasurer's report from 2 months ago sometimes. So
Yeah, yeah. Second Thursday would work. I do keep a running balance, of course, and I have a real good idea of what's going on in the treasury.
Okay.
So if we have any questions, I should be able to answer them. But yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, then, since we don't have a January report, or sorry, yeah, we don't have January report since it's too early for the books to close on that. Grant's out chasing storms, evidently. So I've got a couple updates that Grant provided, and I'll share those. And then Randy, if you've got anything, you go ahead and share. But I was going to go look here. He said tables are almost all sold out. As of the 29th, which was, let's see, what was the 29th? The 29th was Sunday. He said there was only 8 tables left. I'm looking at Tandy List right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like another table has been purchased. So we have 7 tables. 7 tables left.
I see 8.
8.
Are you sure?
Sorry, you're right. I miscounted. Jeez, good thing I'm not in finance. You're right. So we still have 8 tables. We've got 1, 2, 3, 8-foot tables still available, and we've got 5 6-foot tables available still. So if you are, if you're here, or you're, and you still want a table, there's 8 left. So, and if you want an 8-foot table, then you really need to consider your options, because there's only 3 of those left. Let's see what else he had to say. So what I was very surprised about, I'll be honest, he said dinners are selling well. So far, 32 dinners have been sold. Now those are...
I don't see that.
Okay.
I see 24.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm surprised. I mean, you could have told me that 20 dinners were sold, and I still would have been surprised. So,
I mean, I also see 42 attendees so far.
Okay.
And of those, that means there's 24 dinners, so it's about, it's a little more than half bought dinners.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
It is, especially given, I mean, the dinner is not cheap, so so there we go. Um, I don't know much detail about this, but uh, Grant did indicate that it appears the Amigos Retro Gaming channel will be doing a live or podcast, will be doing a live podcast of the show. So there's that. I don't know if that's an official thing or they just bought a table and they're going to be doing something there. And then so one thing he's asking, and I'll just put the request out, is um, uh, who might be able to be there on Friday. And so, and there's another part of that we talked about before the meeting. So Brian indicated that we did have a little bit of chit chat about Bob Swoger um, last month during the meeting, towards the end of the meeting. Subsequent to that, Anne reached out to John Mark and indicated um, that there's a lot of stuff in the home that is Coco related or computing related or whatnot, that she's looking to, you know, to move out of the home. So and there's some things we need to deal with. There's some things we need to work on, like some of the logistics on there, whatnot. But one of the things I talked to John Mark about earlier this evening is, you know, at some point we're going to need to physically get the material from Anne's from her home to the fest. And so I think one of the things I've asked John Mark if he could ask Anne is if it would be okay if we might some contingent of us go over on Friday, maybe in the morning or late morning or so. So my thought is, and obviously I don't know, if Anne will be amenable to this or not, but if she is, then obviously I would like to offer it. Um, some of us are going to be coming in Thursday night. I'm going to be coming in Thursday night, and I know some folks are local to the area. I was thinking that some group of us, since that doesn't need to be a ton of setup prior to noon or a little bit after noon on the show floor, it might make sense for us to get a U-Haul or some rental type vehicle and go over to um, Anne's home and help her kind of, you know, she can tell us what needs to gravitate out of the house. We can load it up in the rental vehicle and then just take it directly to the show and put, you know, the majority of it hopefully on the auction tables so that it can be part of the auction. So I'm hopeful that that's an option we can pursue. But if it is, then for that reason and also just generally in the afternoon to make sure the tables are all set up, the electrical cords are in the right places, the registration desk is set up, and whatever auction items we do have and the stuff that we do need to get from um, Jason Timmons's warehouse, you know, our little stash of stuff that we have, we need to have some helping hands to get some of that stuff over to the show floor. So I don't know that I need people to tell me, although I'm happy to let Grant know. But if you can be available on Friday morning or Friday afternoon to help with setup of the show, I'd ask you to let Brant Leedy know. CocoFest@GlensideCCC.com. You can email him and let him know what your availability is. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. So,
Comment,
yeah.
just to let you know, number one, the name is Annette, please,
Okay.
like Marie Antoinette.
Okay.
And I do have a box of cocoa related stuff already. I know there's t-shirts. I haven't been able to go through the rest of it, but there's t-shirts and mugs from the first and second, maybe even the third Cocoa Fest that Carl Bowles' mother crafted for him for the Cocoa Fest. And there's quite a piece of history, a piece of history from the first years of the fest, you know. So,
well, definitely, as we did, you know, you and I did at the November 21 Fest, where we, kind of gathered all the stuff that was at various people's homes and we kind of went through it. I absolutely want to keep a representative piece of the of the Glenside history. So, a shirt. I know in the November 21 when we were doing that, looking through the materials, there was buttons that had been passed out or given away at various fests. We had a number of those from various years. There was some software that was provided. I think there was some Glenside IDE manuals, and we kept one of those. I don't know that we need to keep, a ton of those each individually. Like, I don't know that we need 10 buttons or 7 t-shirts or whatever, but definitely we'd want to save off some just to make sure we have some history of the club kept. But if so, if you could, if you have an opportunity to go through and kind of pull out stuff that you think has historical or kind of club, I don't know, I don't want to say sentimentality, but that is intrinsic or non financial value to the club, we can add that to to our kind of historical stash that we have already at the warehouse. The rest of it, I think we probably should. I'm a big proponent of not forcing people to try and store this stuff at their home. I mean, if it's club materials, I think the club should keep a nominal quantity of stuff that either is historical perspective for the club or something. I think we kept a Burke hard drive, and I think it went to one of the club members so they could try and pull the data off of. That seems like an appropriate piece to keep because it was used to run the BBS back in the day. But we don't need like 20 Coco 3s and 500 cartridges and stuff like that. At least from my perspective, I think it's better to get that stuff into circulation and have people enjoy those items.
So there was some question as to whether these were being donated or whatnot. Have we
Yeah,
figured all
we
that out?
we have not. I asked, John, Mark, and I have been talking about it, and we chatted about it before. I think Annette has. There's been different versions of what she'd like to
Yeah,
get.
it can't be easy to kind
So
of figure this out.
yeah, so I asked John Mark to kind of reach out to her again and verify what her wishes were, and then I figured at the board meeting that we're having in a couple of weeks, we'll have a little bit more information and we can talk about it, as to what we want to do. My concern is, um, is around making sure that people understand and we're stay hopefully true to the spirit of the auction that we put together and the way that the fest is put together and so forth. On the other hand, I absolutely want to be sensitive to Annette um, and how she wants to disposition her stuff. So John Mark's got an action item to ask Annette about it, and then hopefully at the board meeting we can talk about what it means. And I know there's some various opinions on how we handle the auction materials if if the club needs to pay somebody a little bit money back for the materials that are donated, so they're not completely donated, they're partially donated. I think that's probably something we should iron out and then bring forth to the general membership in March.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Tony, is there anything? I mean, you've got how many? You got just a couple boxes or 5 boxes? What, or just one box? What kind of quantity you have?
It was what I want to say, 10 by 14 by 12 size box. I say I don't know anything that's in there below the t-shirts because they were right on top, folded nicely, and the mugs. So I mean, it's just one container at this time. I don't know if she has any other cocoa stuff to be donated to the auction or not.
Okay. In all of this, obviously, I mean, regardless of how we are able to help Annette with the material that she has, that she needs to kind of move on from her home. I don't know, Tony, if you have an opportunity to ask, or maybe John Mark, maybe you have a good feeling on this, but I know Bob was, I mean, Coco was a big part of his, his kind of his hobbies and so forth. I know Timex was also a big part of his hobbies and whatnot. I suspect, having had a parent who has lost someone here in the last year or so, I suspect there's a desire to kind of clean some of the stuff out that might kind of overly remind someone of someone's passing. But on the other hand, I'm thinking maybe there's something the club should do about, building something or making something out of a few of these items, and present back to Annette as a way to kind of encapsulate, Bob's work with the club. I don't know, like framing one of the T-shirts or um, or some of the computing materials, making some sort of a, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm sure not giving out good ideas, but I'm just wondering if there would be value, or she would find any, I guess, appreciation for something that was kind of represented his involvement with the club. So I don't know how you ask a question like that, but if you get a feeling that that's something that she would appreciate, I think we should bring that to the club and maybe, see what makes sense for us to put together. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think the setup is mainly the thing Grant's worried about. Oh, there was one other item that Grant wanted in his update. I think it was for you, Eric. He had talked about a, let's see, where is it? It was about a debit card or a credit card, because we got to
Yeah,
start
he wants
paying.
to make sure we have a debit card for the bank.
Okay. And he
So,
said the PayPal one isn't working, or he wasn't sure.
well, there were limits to what we could spend with PayPal.
Okay.
Because it
So-
goes through them first before going to the bank.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'll work on getting the debit card sorted out
Okay. Appreciate it.
by the next meeting.
Okay. Well, tell you what, Brian put that in as an action item, so so Eric
Yep.
remembers to get it done. And I was gonna. Okay, sorry. I meant to ask during the treasure report, but I'll wait. And anybody have questions? I'm not sure I can answer them all, but anybody have questions about Cocoa Fest? We're a little less than 80 days away, so. Okay.
Rich, you're muted.
We can. I think I might be able to unmute you. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Ask to unmute. Here. Did that do something?
Oh, Rich Bear.
There we
There we go.
Sorry. I haven't been at meetings for about 6 months, and so I'm totally in the dark about Cocoa Fest. So maybe you could quickly answer some questions. Are we doing free admission again this year?
I believe yes. That's the plan.
Yes. Okay. What are the table charges?
There's $30. So there's two different charges, because there are 6-foot tables that are $30, and there are 8-foot tables that are $40.
And that's per each, the same price for any number, huh?
Correct. That's
Okay.
right, Randy, isn't it? It's just a flat rate for tables.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, sorry, I'm not Randy, but
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I was saying the right thing.
Yeah, it is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And I think
next-
not that it matters to you, but I think there's a limit. Like we were asking folks to 2 tables, and if you needed more than 2 to contact Grant directly.
Okay. Do we charge anything for the actual people who are exhibitors? Or do they have an unlimited number of chairs, whatever they need?
I think that I don't think
Will
there
they
was
get one membership included with the table?
Yeah, but no additional. There's no for a couple of years now. I think there was a time where we charged like $5 per extra person to be at the table, but I don't remember that being done even when we charged for admission. That I saw that was back in like 2016, 17, 18, but I haven't seen it lately.
Okay. What about dinner now?
Dinner is we're still a little discrepancy on how many dinners have been sold, but sounds like there's at least 24 plus dinners, and they're $43 a piece.
43.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're not giving a discount for kids.
Yeah,
Kids are also charged 43.
which is unfortunate, but that's the way it works, right?
And then my last question is, I haven't been getting notices of any meetings for the same 6 months.
Hmm.
And I looked on Tandy List to see if maybe I was not checked for getting communications, but I am checked for that.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going wrong here.
Okay. Well, are you on the Malted Media Cocoa mailing list?
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I'll take the hit on that one because I um usually
You
Huh?
don't send them out through MailChimp?
Well, I had been, and then I mean, by the time I get it on Facebook and I get it on the website and I get it on Facebook and I get it on the mailing list, I sometimes forget to put it out in MailChimp. So that's my bad, Rich.
Okay.
So I'll do better.
That's one black mark for reelection.
I know. Impeachment. I can see the impeachment coming now.
One more comment that I was on the GCCC website
Yeah.
and studying the calendar. And when this was a week ago now, but the fest was not on the calendar, even though it's on the splash page and everything.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's correct. I haven't added it to the calendar because we haven't figured out the schedule. Usually I add each scheduled item on the calendar.
Maybe you could put a
Yeah, like a
placeholder though.
day,
Yeah.
a daily placeholder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd put
definitely.
I think I saw that too, but I'd forgotten to bring it up because I'd probably put a placeholder there just so folks know, so
Yeah,
they can block it out.
I'll work on that soon.
Okay, now a message for Eric. If I'm going to be the one that sends off results to the IRS, I'm setting myself a date of March 1st to do that. And so
Well, we haven't approved December's numbers yet, so March 1st isn't going to work.
We approved December's numbers. It was the future budget numbers that we haven't.
So we accepted 2022 year.
Yeah, that was in Brian's thing. We approved the December numbers. So you've got all the year's numbers. It's just the upcoming next year's budget numbers that we hadn't approved.
I don't think I projected for next year.
Yeah. That was what, remember we were like, okay, well, this is what happened in you were presenting it as a budget. Like here's the 23 numbers based on the 22 numbers. That was what you had presented. Well, Brian can bring back up the meeting minutes, but Brian indicated that.
Well, what I was showing was that we had a deficit of what, 1,000 or 2,000, but that was for last year.
For year over year, right? So year over year.
I didn't do a projection. I just did whatever our deficit was for 2022, and you wanted to double check that number.
Okay, well, the December numbers for the December the December treasurer's report that was approved. So we have every month has been approved. You're right in that there was a question about why are the 2021 numbers and the 2022 numbers, what's the discrepancy there? Because I mean, we don't have a deficit because we're still got plenty of money. Be careful about saying deficit. We have plenty of money in the bank. It's that we are not making as much money.
We have a deficit on our income versus expenses, but the 2021 we balanced because we weren't taking as many expenses.
Correct. correct. So we're 22 is,
Or
So
20.
we
22.
actually lost money in 2022. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying, Eric?
yeah, but it was kind of expected. Like, but and it wasn't a large amount. I mean, it was larger than we were hoping for, but we can go over the numbers again. If we can approve 2022 for the year, then we can do taxes on March. But as far as I'm aware, we accepted December, but not the year's end numbers.
but I don't know that we ever accept a year's worth of numbers. We've never done that before. We just accept each month's
Right.
worth of numbers. So
And that's fine if you guys don't want to go over the year's numbers, but we're going to use the yearly report for the IRS, not monthly.
I don't,
Well, let me chime in on that. If I'm going to be the person in the middle here with the IRS,
mhm.
I want to have for my own record some sort of paper document
Yeah.
of what you're telling me. And so I think what I would like, I don't think the IRS asks for anything except gross receipts. They don't care whether you make a profit or a loss or anything like that. They just want to know your gross take before anything. And so if you could give me a one-page document detailing that by month, I think,
Mhm.
just something that I can file away and have in case the IRS ever asks me any questions.
Yeah. Well,
And it probably should be affirmed by you. I don't think we need a notary to do anything, but if you just at the end say that these are the figures to the best of my knowledge and sign it, so that I have that document just in case the IRS ever wants to talk to me about anything, then that's what I would refer to.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't need that now, but I will contact you in about 3 weeks to
Well,
remind you. And then by March 1st is when I want it.
I would say, so maybe we can, you know, so here's the deal. So I did ask at the meeting if I could look at the numbers that Eric was providing, and I'm still working through those numbers. However, we do have, so I hope to be finished with that and have conversation at the board meeting on the 16th. Following that, there might be, there's probably another reading that we, that like I think the general membership is going to want to know what I found, or if there's anything that we discussed and we decided on at the board meeting. But we have a March meeting on the 2nd of March. And so is it possible for me to give, is it possible for you to give us maybe 3 more days and ask for that information on the 3rd of March as opposed to the 1st of March? Because if you ask for it on the 3rd of March, we will have already had our meeting and we'll be done.
That's fine.
Okay. So
I just, I don't think it's due till April 15th.
it's not. And
16th or whatever it is.
and I totally understand that you want to have it done way before tax deadline, and that's fine.
I'm good at procrastinating. So.
Yeah. I just asked the reason that I wanted to, and then I've been looking through here is, in 2022 we did these various things, and we obviously had to pay more for the venue, in a little bit more in the venue than we did for 2021. But like Eric noted, we weren't positive in 2022, whereas we kind of broke even in 2021, and we were a little negative in 2022. Is this right here, $1,700? That's our decrease.
This is our yearly report.
Yeah, and so
is basically what we would send to the IRS.
Yeah, and so the question I'm trying to figure out is not so much. I guess I misunderstood then the context of the meeting last time, but I still think my point is valid. I just wanted to verify what it was from year to year that changed, because there was 2 questions I wanted to answer, and I'm only partway through my research. The 2 questions I wanted to answer is, what is it we spent more on in 2022 that we didn't spend in 2021? Because I don't remember what that would have been. We did pretty much the same amount of business.
Yeah, it'd be great to have an answer for that.
And then
you're kind of an expert on charts, so that
it might be on the other side of the equation too, because last year was the first time that admission was free, I believe.
It was, but the fest itself broke even. So I mean, and maybe the fest was propping up something else, which is fine. I mean, it's
see.
not fine, but if that's the
But
answer, then that's the answer.
It didn't break even because I've got 5,300
No,
here,
in
and I've
in
got 50.
in 2021 but
Oh,
in 2021 we also did not have right, or no, last year was the first year. You're right. So it was $400, or no, 5,300 Cocoa Fest revenues and $5,700 was expenses. So
yeah,
that's the part. Okay, and that's the part where I'm challenged, because when I go look at the Fest spreadsheet indicates that we not only broke even, but we made money. So
yeah, and you're probably right because this is going to show things for the end of the year, right? Stuff we're preparing for
yeah,
2023.
but But
As
that,
for
I think we should split that out. I think we should have like Cocoa Fest revenue for 4,700. I think that should be Cocoa Fest 2022 revenue. And then there should be a line item for Cocoa Fest 2022 expenses, and then another line for 2023 expenses, because otherwise next year it's going to be it's going to be kind of weird, because you're going to be taking revenue for 2020 Cocoa Fest 2023, and the
yeah,
expenses are going to be for 2023 and 2024. So it's
but
hard
we
to
could
match them up.
duplicate. Yeah, we could duplicate all these to a new year.
I think it would be nice to understand for each Cocoa Fest, did we make or not make money? Because that's where I'm struggling, is trying to reconcile the fact
Yeah,
that
well, and that's
in our Cocoa Fest spreadsheet that Tony and Grant and everybody worked on, I see all the people paying, and I see the cost of the venue and like the coffee and the tea and all that, and when we're and the money for the auction, and at the end we made money, but according to this we didn't. And you've just brought an excellent point up. These Cocoa Fest expenses include some Cocoa Fest 2023 expenses, which I wasn't figuring. I mean,
yeah.
and
But
I
you
do
know what's
realize that year over year it probably will balance out, because you'll be getting some money for 23 and 20, or 22 and 23, and you'll be paying for some 23 expenses in 22. I get it, but it'd be nice to separate it out, Cocoa Fest by Cocoa Fest. So anyway, I was waiting to get that because I was trying to make sure that the numbers were correct before we said, okay, this is the numbers, because I mean, the numbers are the numbers here. And I think this is
like,
what we should send to IRS, because this is what the bank account reflects. I'm just trying to
yeah.
figure out if it's all categorized correctly.
Well, I think instead of making yearly different categories for each year, we just need to run the report for the correct time period. And I'm sure I have in the past already given a report
Okay, that's fine.
that
If
shows the correct time period for
that
Cocoa.
may help me out, because right now I think what we're seeing here is that we're paying up front for some. I think we had to make a deposit on the hotel and some stuff like that, or whatever. Those expenses already are taking out of our thing, but we're not going to get the money for it until, I mean, we had to do that in 22, but we're not going to get the money back for that until 23. So it's going to be
Yeah, this
it's
is,
going to be unbalanced.
I did make a Cocoa Fest report. This is our Cocoa Fest 2022
Okay.
report. We
Okay.
made $300.
That to me, so to your point, Rich, so yeah, we did do free admission, but when all was said and done, the fest broke even and made $300. So
Yeah, I don't know what the IRS is going to ask for. They have two levels of reports. If your gross income for the year is more than 50,000, then you file a detailed statement. But if it's under 50,000, I think it's maybe only one question. How much was your gross take for the year?
yeah, and
And so there's not even an opportunity to send them a form like that. It's
yeah,
just all they want is one number,
right.
really.
And
Right, they just want the income number from the one
Yeah.
report. So
And-
I'll give you a copy of all those reports, Rich, and affirm them.
Yeah, just some sort of a booklet that I can feel is my armor in case there's any question from the IRS. I have something to refer to instead of saying, well, Eric told me that.
Yep.
No,
Yep,
that's
and
fine.
if you want me to sign something for the IRS too, I can either come out or we can mail stuff around.
Yeah, well, even, I don't expect to ever have to show it to anybody because I don't think they ask for anything like that when you fill out this form on the web. But
Yeah.
just in case, I want to have something.
The I tried the document that we need to fill. Sorry, I know we need to move on, but um, the form we need to fill out is a 990N, right, which is essentially a postcard. And I was trying to see here what the postcard has in it, but it is so I'm just looking here. Step one is you exempt correction, you put in the preparer, which would be you, Rich. The EIN, which we would put in, we have that. And then organizational details, contact information, and then um, I was looking for just a PDF of the actual postcard itself, but I'm not.
I couldn't find such a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one. Um, let me bring it up here real quick so I can just look at it. So calendar year, tax year, gross receipts $50,000 or yes, name and address of organization, employee identification number, website URL, and the officer name and address. That's all they ask for. They don't even ask for the number. They just ask for whether it's $50,000 or more.
Oh,
Perfect.
So, but yes, so in that case, I don't have a problem. You can send whatever material that, whatever Eric wants to present as the year end, that's fine. All I was trying to do was just trying to sort out how we ended up, some money. We ended up with gross receipts less than, gross receipts were less than gross expenses in 2022. I was trying to sort that out. But you can get your number right now because I have no dispute about the fact that the number that we have of our income for 2022 is exactly what Eric has listed in his spreadsheets.
Okay. Then Rich and I can get together and do taxes
Okay.
anytime.
Okay, so did you have another question?
well, you brought up one. What do we
Okay.
use for our company address? We never actually settled that.
Well, currently it is your address, I believe. And I know that Tony said it needs to be somewhere in Cook County.
Uh,
My
know.
understanding was that it can be changed, but there's a number of hoops that have to be gone through.
Well, there's a difference between the company's address and my address as an agent.
Yeah. Well, I can look and see. I'll look, I guess if you send me an email, Rich, I'll look at the legal documents that we have on the website or on the Google Drive and see what the different addresses are. But I believe the one that we submitted to IRS is the address we should use for the Form 990.
That might be Brian Gurr's address.
I don't think so because you were the one that worked the most on that IRS piece. So I think we used your address. But if not, then we'll work on changing it because he's not the treasurer anymore.
Yeah, it was Brian who got the EIN though.
Okay. Well, I'll look at it
before I got involved.
Okay. I'll look at it and see what the address is.
Yeah, I would say if it's Brian's address, we should change it to Rich's address, unless you have an objection to that, Rich.
Sort of. I'm trying to play a minor role here instead of a major one.
The problem with changing the address is we don't have that many members left in Chicago. It could be my address. I'm in Cook County, but I don't know what else it could
as
be.
far as the state is concerned, I've been receiving the
Okay, here's the address
form for a long time.
The address that's listed for IRS is 3312 Miller Avenue. So whose address is that?
I think that's Brian's.
Okay.
Brian's, yeah.
Well, I can talk to this. Well, okay, then sounds like I was assuming, Rich, we would use your address because you're the one that has the other document that needs to be filled out and sent in, which is the incorporation document. I feel like
You're
Huh?
also going to want the responses, Rich, unless you want those to go somewhere else.
Responses to what?
If
From the
if
IRS,
there's
you
any
mean?
letters from the IRS, someone's got to receive them.
That's true, yeah. Well, they will ask for my address at some point, I'm sure. And so that might be who they send any queries to anyway,
well,
but they may
I-
separately ask for the corporation's address.
it sounds to me like either way, we need to see whether we can change the address. And so, Rich, I know at the board meeting, which I'm going to invite you to, we're going to talk about having a board director position so that you can, because we need to have somebody that's officially a part of the board to perform this activity, even though this is a pretty minor activity. So if you could do us a favor and see what kind of document is required to fill out in order to change the address for IRS materials, the official address of the club, that would be helpful.
Okay, let me write myself a note.
Okay. Because I must have misunderstood. I thought last time when we chatted, you were indicating that that your address was the address we would use. So if it's not, that's fine. We just need to find an address. And Eric's right. We need to. It does need to be somewhere in Illinois. I mean, it needs to be. And I think I heard it need to be in Cook County. So.
Well, that's probably only true for the forms that go to the state of Illinois.
Correct. You're right. But since you're going to be taking care of both of them, I mean, it probably should be the same address on both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when we had this discussion, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we didn't find a good solution. We talked about having a post box somewhere, and
yeah, there was a lot of pushback. I was a proponent of a post office box because it would always be available. But
yeah,
The issue with the post office box was that it was not cheap, and I live in Cook County, and I'm
Yeah.
not going anywhere for at least the next decade. So just send it here. I mean, whatever you guys as a club want.
Well, I guess Rich, it's probably up to you. If you don't want it at your address, then we'll come up with something else. If you're okay with it being your address, then we'll use your address because you're the one that's going to be filling out the forms.
I don't think the state of Illinois actually asks for the address of the club.
Okay.
And I'm just put down as the authorized representative or something like that. So that's why I get the stuff from the state. And what I would like is for me to have that same role with the IRS, that I'm the authorized representative, but not necessarily the address of the club. Because if somebody on the website says, "Oh, I want to write to the club,"
Right.
It really shouldn't come to me. So.
Correct. And that is not the intent. That's not the expectation. The legal address for the club and the address where people correspond with the club would not and should not be the same.
Yeah. Well, this may not be a problem, but
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
I mean, it probably should be one of our addresses, Rich, because me as a treasurer, if someone comes a knocking, it's going to be me or you that has to answer to them.
Yeah,
Right.
well, I'm getting on in years. I think you're great for the club's address. It can be yours for the next 20 years easily.
Well,
Yeah,
we will.
mean,
I would say this is. I mean, just to kind of put a bow on it. I think this is something that we can bring up at the board meeting and just decide, and then get whatever address it is. We'll do the appropriate paperwork change to do that. But it'll be there's a very few number of people. I firmly believe it needs to be a board member or an officer, and obviously for some of it needs to be there's some geographical constraints, right? Illinois, Cook County, whatever. So within those constraints, pick an address. That'll be the address.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Well, I was hoping to have Grant provide some material on the newsletter update, but he's not here tonight. So, but I did see Grant Leedy join. So sorry, Grant.
Yeah, I popped in here real quick. I'm stepping out for a meeting here, so I thought I'd
Yep.
swing in here real quick. Did you guys have any questions or anything?
Um,
How's the weather?
It's in Oklahoma City. It's about 50 degrees here right now. We just had an ice storm here earlier this week.
wow. I think not that it's a big deal, but I think you had sent some updates around how many meals were purchased already, and I think Randy has a different number. So when you get back or you have an opportunity, you might want to try and reconcile the numbers with Randy and see if there's if there is truly a discrepancy or not. I think you'd put 32. I think Randy sees 24.
Yep.
So um,
That would be correct because there were a lot of things that had the error when people were like when you had the error with the PayPal.
mhm.
I had to manually go in there and adjust it. So it did it. Remember, you got the error when you made your
Yep.
reserved your table.
Yep.
That's when all those discrepancies would came into play.
Okay.
So
I don't know that we had any. Oh, I think the other thing was you had mentioned that the agenda was being finalized. I guess the only question I have is, do you have a date for that, or is it something that won't be finished until real close to the show?
it was shelf would be finalized here this next month. I'm just waiting for making sure the people who agree to do presentations that they still want to do presentations.
Okay.
The other thing too is we need to decide about that second auction if we want to do that or how we want to do that. That's the other. Because I didn't want to schedule presentations on Sunday if we are going to have another auction on Sunday.
Okay. Well, that we're there's some behind the scenes things that we have to sort out, and we're gonna figure all that out at the board meeting, and then we'll bring it to the membership next month, so March 2nd. But if you're able to join the board meeting, we should be able to sort that out at
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Okay. I
The only
guess
other thing too I had was the debit card. We get that
Yep.
situation figured out yet? Because that's
Eric's got an action item in as of tonight. Well, before, but definitely tonight to make that happen.
okay, great.
Okay.
Because I know they're going to be deducting money from the account here probably in the next few weeks. So
Oh, that should work fine, because I think we gave them the PayPal. And even if, as long as it's not the full amount at once, I think it'll go through fine. And just have them get in touch with me if there's any problem.
okay, no problem.
There was. Oh, I talked about your request for who was going to be able to help on Friday. I suggested they email you Cocoa Fest or whatnot. Is there some other way that you want people to reach out to you?
Nope, that would be fine. We just need to make sure we have pickup trucks. Are you going to be there, Jim, on that
I
Friday?
am.
Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously,
But we
unless the Rona gets
You better
me
not get
again.
COVID this
I
year.
know it sucks, but assuming none of that, I will be there on Friday.
Okay,
or
great.
Thursday night.
And then Tony's also working on the registration process at the door too. So
Okay.
Tony
know-
is?
Tony is. Yes, Tony is.
Hi, Tony.
Are we going to have, maybe this question more for Randy, but I know last few years we haven't had the opportunity of having the kiosks there to do Tandy List work. Is that something that was going to reappear in the new show?
Can
Okay.
if you want it.
I think there's a couple people that, I mean, we'd said, hey, go ahead and, sign up or update your information or whatnot, but we really haven't had a place to do that. So.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll need somebody to man the kiosk. There's one person that needs to help people. They log them in.
Okay.
And or create a new entry so that they can fill it out.
Okay.
They do obviously the users do most of the work, but one person has to coordinate it. I would say that I would do it, and I've done it in the past, but I think I'm doing video duty this year for the and the all the PA work because we don't have Stevie or to do that.
Okay.
which I've got some new cool stuff to really improve the auction video.
Cool.
I know that there's been some times when those phones have tripped
Cut out.
out, but yeah, well, but I've definitely resolved that with some more professional um, um, video transmitters.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah,
Well,
Cool. And if you need anything, Randy, let me know and we'll get that bought for you out of my bucket.
yeah.
You can also rent anything you need to.
I've got it all right now.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'm assuming we're still borrowing the PA equipment from
Yep.
the other group.
they definitely will have it available.
Okay. So I will plan on using that PA equipment and bringing all the other stuff that I need.
Okay.
So
Cool. Thanks, Randy.
no problem.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Grant. I did not have any other business this evening. Obviously, we've got a couple items that are not ready to bring to the club just yet, but if anybody has anything else, we can entertain it now. Otherwise, we'll close the meeting down.
I make the motion that we end the meeting.
I just had one quick question.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I just want to throw this out as a discussion point because I guess for most part, I'm relatively new to being with the meetings and such. And would there be value in having more people in the meeting? I mean, I know in past I've joined in some of the meetings and we've had many more people. I don't know if there'd be value in trying to get more people to the meetings. And with that, like right now, going on right now on there's that game on challenge that goes on, with where we're playing, and there's a lot of people that I remember that used to be on this meeting that of course are on the game on challenge. And so not that we should move our night or day of the week, but I don't know if it's something that's worth discussing. Maybe not right now, but maybe in a future time. I don't know if there's a better. It seems like Thursdays always seem to get eaten up. I know, like for me, this actually worked out well moving it for me to this Thursday because the third Thursday was always a competition for me on other things that I have going on personally. But even maybe I don't know if it's worth discussing even the day of the week. And I don't know. I guess that's always. And maybe you guys have had those discussions in the past, and Thursday was the best day, or maybe that's just we've always done it on Thursday type of scenario. And so I don't know.
I mean, in the bylaws, there is a Thursday mentioned. I think it was the first Thursday of the month is what was mentioned in there. But it did mention that the the membership can move the meeting to other meetings. It's just like it nominally is going to be at this date unless you pick another day. So personally, no date's going to be great for everybody.
Right.
All dates are going to be good for somebody.
Yep.
My thinking is that as people, join or not our club, but like they join other things, or their circumstances in life changes, then obviously the days of the week and the weeks of the month that they're available shifts. So I suspect that, every so often we may need to adjust the date. I do know that there are certain days of the week that are very problematic, right? Friday, nobody's going to want a meeting on Friday, right? I mean, that's just, I
Right.
tell you right now, I don't want to deal with this meeting on Friday. That's when I'm turning my brain off for the weekend. Monday is difficult, right? Because it's the first day of the week and everybody's like trying to cram a bunch of stuff in they didn't do over the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, I think, are equally as bad as Friday. Wednesday tended to be a challenge for people who have religious activities in the middle of the week. So Tuesday and Thursday really become the options to pick, and I don't know why Tuesday was not an option, but I know we did go through this process last year, like in September or so forth, change it to the first Thursday of the month. So, I mean, I don't have a particular week of the month or day of the week outside of the constraints that I just posed that I mind or that I like is better than another one. I did mention earlier in the night, I think you were on, but I mentioned that the first Thursday of the month has a little bit of a challenge because we ask people like Eric to provide a treasurer's report, and he's still waiting on getting the actual data from our bank and and PayPal and Square, whoever. So that puts a little bit of a challenge on him to have material together for the meeting. But I know we moved it here so that other people could, like, I know Grant was challenged with the third Thursday of the month was problematic. He had a conflict, and some other folks did as well. So I'm happy to entertain another day. I think probably where we're struggling right now is probably my fault. I put it out on 3 of the outlets, but as Rich pointed out, I didn't get it out to people in their email box individually. And so I need to do better at that. So maybe give me a month to make sure I get the meeting invite out to everybody who is signed up to get it on Tandy List, and then see if we have better attendance in the March meeting. But if we don't, then we could try something else. Yeah.
I hate to put work on Brian, but usually the secretary would be responsible for notifying members of things. Is that something, Brian, you can help with?
Yeah, I could certainly help.
Oh.
I don't necessarily have access to those things, but I'm
Oh,
sure
we'll
that
get
can be
you.
arranged.
We'll get you access.
Yeah, see, there we go. So yeah. So yeah, well maybe that's something I can discuss, or I can work with Jim or you or whomever, and maybe we
Yeah.
can work something out there.
We'll
too,
work with
so.
Jim on exactly what he wants you to do, but work with me for any access. I'll get you hooked up.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll take that as an item. I can help you do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, before I
I have-
forget,
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you guys an update. Yes, the Cocoa Fest will be on the marquee outside the hotel.
Cool. Yay.
And it is on the calendar now.
Yay.
All right.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting from Grant Leedy.
Now I now I have something to ask about.
Okay.
It's sorry. It's the whole thing that Tony is doing the door stuff.
Mhm.
Tony, do you have are you doing a meeting or something to work with anybody on that? With I guess you'll be working with Rich. And
Not at this point.
okay, I would just suggest that I'd like to be involved in that and help because I know that we had reports and stuff that we need from Tandy List, and I'd like to be able to provide those. And I know that Bob Swoger had some work that he did with getting that all set up. And again, I'd like to help fill that position and get that all resolved. So when you're ready to start working on it, please invite me and Grant as well, I assume, so that we can hash all that out. And if I can provide something cool from Tandy List, that would be, I'd love to.
There you
Okay.
go.
27 pounds of crushed ice.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, you mean information?
Yeah. I can
Okay.
bring ice. I'll bring ice. I got a truck.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Okay. So Eric Canales seconds to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Okay.
Yay.
Any opposed? Okay. Well, I will, for those of you who are officers or directors, I'll see you all on the 16th. And for the rest of everyone, we'll reconvene on the 2nd of March.
Awesome.